The book is mine, and I am solely responsible for it. Raymond B. Fosdick, Newtown, Connecticut, 14th of August, 1951. So, how about that? I just realized I don't have a bookmark. 1 second. I'm going to just take a sip and have a look at the comments. The United Nations, Peter says he worked for them back in Timor-Leste. Leste, is that a place? Mr. Microsoft is the largest farmer in the world or US. Yeah, I think definitely in the US. I'm not sure about the world, but definitely in the US, Peter. Heidi says, this will make me angry and sad. I must watch later. Sunday morning prayer now. Thank you, Nick. God bless you all. Yes, Heidi, I'm hopefully, yeah, I know what you mean. It's going to be frustrating, isn't it? I think it might be quite a dry read. Like he was saying, it seems like it's going to be lots of facts and figures, but one of those which we're probably not going to get much of a narrative. I don't know. I could be wrong. I feel like it's going to be dry, but we'll see. Rosemary says, wonder where they got all that money from back then in the USA. Not from USA. Yeah, I think maybe oil originally. I think they were into oil, way back in their lineage, and they sort of pivoted. I think Rockefeller famous, was it one of the Rockefellers who was really, he had a really bad reputation, so they had to like reinvent his image as a philanthropist, and they filmed him giving out pennies. I think that was a Rockefeller. Correct me if I'm wrong. I could be wrong about that totally. But I think what I got from that intro is that he has access to the official papers, so that's very critical. Kind of in the same way that Carol Quigley of Tragedy and Hope, which I'm pointing to over my shoulder there, he had access to the private papers of the Council on Foreign Relations, and so he was the man with the best access to their own documents and their own accounts of what's going on. It sounds like Raymond Fosdick here was the man with that kind of access, and so we can't so easily dismiss what he's saying as we move forward in the book. He had the documents, he had personal access to members of the family, and sounds like he also had a lot of help and support from people who worked in the foundation itself. So I think there's a strong case that the information in this book is going to be reliable, and it's going to be something a bit concrete that we can kind of believe and learn from. It was interesting to see, what was it, Frederick T. Gates mentioned, and I was wondering if he's related to Bill. And so the first thing that pops up tells me that Frederick T. Gates is an American philanthropist and businessman. Of course he's a philanthropist, a major figure in Rockefeller interests, who spearheaded the endowment drive that created the University of Chicago. He was an American Baptist clergyman. Hang on, let me let's see if we can I'll show you what I'm looking at, then you're not just listening to me read. Frederick Taylor Gates, American Baptist and clergyman, and of course philanthropic advisor to the oil industrialists. Yeah, so I think the Rockefellers' money came from oil, and that's John D. Rockefeller Sr., that cheerful fella. Be good to sit down and have a pint with him, wouldn't it? Pour it over his head, perhaps. But I want to find out if this guy is at all related to Bill. Looks like there's nothing about William. Descendants. Frederick, his son, married Patricia, the daughter of Forbes. Okay, here we go. Not related to... it says, contrary to persistent internet rumors, Frederick Taylor Gates is not related to Billy, the co-founder of Microshite. So, yeah, apparently not. But just because a sentence on Wikipedia says it's not the case, I would take that with a pinch of salt. Let's have a look at the fact check that they're sending us to. Check your fact. Yeah, that looks legit, doesn't it? So I don't know. My verdict is that the jury's still out on that one, but it seems perhaps there is no perhaps there is no connection there. But what would be the odds of like two influential families with the last name Gates both getting into philanthropy and being so closely connected with the medical paradigm and the development of these kind of organizations? What are the odds? But anyway, jury's out. Peter is saying it used to be in Indonesia. Now their flag doesn't come up, one of the youngest countries today. Okay, nice. I bet you got some good stories from that time living in Indonesia. I never made it over to that country, unfortunately. Adamski says, I think that number would be 51 billion at the start. Oh, okay. Did I read a number wrong? Apologies if that's the case. All right. So sounds like this is, if we want to know about the Rockefeller Foundation, this is the guy to tell us about it. But it also sounds like very likely that this fella's going to be some kind of gatekeeper, because if he's working so closely with the, John D. Rockefeller Jr., if he's working so closely with the head of the family at the time, then he's going to be under instructions, I would have thought, to leave things out. If there's anything to leave out, he would have been the kind of one who would have been told, don't put that in there. So there could be, there's a good chance that things are getting left out. So while he's on the face of it, appears like a very reliable source, access to the documents, firsthand access to the people, he could also be performing the role of gatekeeper and burying or omitting things. And he even says here, any errors of omission are my fault, and I'm solely responsible for it. So it's interesting, isn't it? If with further learning and reading, we find out there's things that he didn't write in this book, he's being the fault. He's claiming that it's his fault. Don't blame the Rockefeller family. Don't blame anyone else. It's me. He's jumping on his sword. He's diving on the grenade, and he's taking that hit.